Okay guys, so now that we know a little bit more about parallel and perpendicular lines, we're going to start solving problems. So for number 1 right here, it says what is the slope of a line perpendicular to that with an equation of 5x plus 3y equals 8. So the first thing we do, it has to be in slope-intercept form, so I am going to solve for y. That's the first thing I'm going to do here. So my equation, I'm going to solve for y, so I'm going to remove the 5, so I'm going to move 5x to the other side. Remember, we always do opposite. It cancels from the left side. We bring down the 3y, put our equal sign, and then I cannot combine 8 and negative 5 because one has a variable, the other one does not. So I just put them next to each other. I have 5x plus 8, negative 5x plus 8. Then the last thing we do, we divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3. Now we have y equals negative 5/3 x plus 8/3. Okay, so the next thing I do, I want a slope of a line perpendicular to it. Remember that your slope is the number with the x. Perpendicular means I'm going to have opposite sign. So if this one is negative, my perpendicular slope is going to be positive. And if this one is 5/3, my new slope should be 3/5. So I'm looking for a positive 3/5. And my answer is B. Okay, the next problem says find the slope of the line that contains these points. 5, negative 6, and negative 1, negative 4. Find the slope of this line. So when they give you 2 points, if we do not remember our slope formula, what we can do is I can use my calculator. Remember that every point has one x, one y. So this point would be x2, y2. Okay, so if I don't remember, all I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my calculator. I am going to turn it on, and I am going to go to my stat function right here. I'm going to select edit. Your x's are going to go on list 1, so that means I'm going to put a 5, enter, a negative 1, enter, and then I'm going to move to the right side for list 2, and I'm going to put the y's here. So that means a negative 6 and a negative 4. Please make sure you put the order of the numbers with the correct point. So 5 goes with negative 6 and negative 1 goes with negative 4. Once I'm done, I'm going to press stat again. I'm going to go to calculate, go down to linear regression because I want a line. I'm going to press enter, and it gives me my equation right here. So now notice how my answers are in decimals, and I want a fraction. So what I'm going to do is I am going to get my slope. Remember, the slope is the one with the x, so it's going to be this one right here, the a, because it's the one in front of the x. My slope is negative, so I know that far. Negative 0.33333. If I want to convert that to a fraction, I'm going to return to my screen, my regular screen, and I am going to put negative 0.333333333 many times. I'm going to select math. I'm going to press enter, and it gives me my fraction, negative 1/3. My slope is negative 1/3. So my answer is C. Now notice how if I also wanted to write an equation for this problem, I could easily just look at my calculator, and I can just write my equation because I know that my slope is negative 1/3 and my y-intercept is negative 4.3333. So my equation could be y equals negative 1/3 x, and my y-intercept is negative 4.33, so minus 4.333. That's how you guys can get equations if they give you guys 2 points only. So this one says one line passes through the points negative 3, negative 1, and 1, negative 9. Another line passes through points 1, 4, and 5, 6. So we want to know if the lines are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. So what I'm going to do is what I showed you right now in stats. I'm going to put the first 2 points, get the equation, and then I'm going to put the other 2 points and get the second equation and then compare it. Remember, parallel lines will have equal slope, while perpendicular are going to have negative reciprocals. Okay, so let's do that. Let's go to our calculator. I am going to go to Stat. I am going to select Edit. Now I'm going to clear this. The way you're going to clear it, you can go up, select Clear, Enter. Then we go to the next one, up, Clear, Enter. Now please be really careful not to press delete. If not, you're going to delete the whole list and our trick is not going to work. So our x's are -3 for the first equation and a +1. I'm doing the blue. Then our y's are -1 and -9. Okay, guys, remember the steps. Stat again, calculate, then I am going to do linear. Press enter, enter, and it gives me my equation. My equation says y equals, I have a -2 slope and a -7y intercept. So my equation should be, for the first set of points, y equals, and we said -2x minus 7. I have my first equation that fast. Now what I'm going to do is I am going to do the second equation again. So I'm going to go to Stat now. Let me move this so we can see both points. Going to edit again. I'm going to edit. List 1, remember how to clear? Up, clear, enter. Go to list 2, up, clear, and enter. Now I can put my points. The x is a 1 for the first point. The x is a 5 for the second point. Then the y's. The y is a 4 for the first point. And we have a y for our second point. We go to Stat again. We select Calculate, Linear, Enter, Enter, and my equation is 0.5 and 3.5. So my second equation should be y equals, and we said 0.5x and 3.5y. Now remember, when we want to know if they're parallel or perpendicular, this is what I look at. Are they equal? Nope, so it's not parallel. But they are opposite signs, so opposite signs, and it's the reciprocal. Remember, this is over 1, so they did change. The one went to the top went to the bottom, so my lines are going to be perpendicular. And this is how we do this problem. Let's move on to the next. When they give me a line and they tell me they want a line to cross, I want a line that is parallel and that passes through a point -2, 0. What I'm going to do is, first I look at my equation. Remember that parallel lines. So let's do A, B, C, and D, because you are going to have multiple choice on your test. So let me just make up some really quickly. So let's have -x plus 1. Let's have -x minus 5. let's have a positive x for these other ones, and then let's have a plus 3, and then let's have a minus 2 right here. Just created my multiple choice really quickly. So if I want one of these lines is going to have to be parallel. Parallel means the same slope. Excuse me guys for my bad writing. So same slope, and that passes through this point, so it has to satisfy both. So what I'm going to do, if I have an equation, if I just have a graph, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find 2 points that are exactly in a corner, and I'm going to find the slope. Any 2 points that are exactly on the corners will work, and I am going to find my slope by doing rise over run. Okay, so if I look at those 2 points that I marked, to do rise over run, I count how many units I move up. I moved 1 unit up. So my rise is going to be 1 over 1 unit to the right. So that's 1 over 1, which means my slope is 1. It's pointing to the positive side, so it's a positive slope. So that means my slope for a line parallel is the same slope. So I need to have a slope of positive 1. So that's a negative, so that's out of the question. That's a negative, so that's out of the question. Now, those B and D are both possible because both have a slope of positive 1. But one of them must go through this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check it, and I'm going to check it using my graph. So I take my calculator, I go to y equals, and I'm going to put my equation right here. And I'm going to check both of them, okay? Just so that you guys can see what's going on. So I'm going to check B first. I'm going to put x. Where is x? Right here. So x plus 3. And I'm going to not graph it because I know it is parallel. I am going to look at my table. I have a point -2, 0. So let's go to -2. -2 is right here. But the y is not 0, it's a 1. So that cannot be my answer. My answer must have a point of -2, 0. So that's not my answer. Let's just check D, just because I want to make sure I want to get this question correct. So I'm going to check and see if that's my equation. So I go to y equals, I have x plus 3, so now I'm going to change that to a -2, because that's what D says. So I'm going to put blue button, table, blue button and table. So now I'm going to check to see if it has that point. Point -2, 0. That should give me a 0. 0, -2. Oh. Okay guys, I made a mistake, so I'm fixing my mistake right now. I just made it out of my mind, so I made a mistake, so I'm going to change the point to a +2, 0. So let's now look at our table, and I look at my table and I have x -2. I look at my table, second graph, and then I'm just going to make sure that my point +2, 0 is here. There we go. A +2 and a 0 is right here. So then letter D would be my answer. Hope this helps, guys. Make sure you guys copy your notes, make sure you study, and please forgive me for my mistake.